The scale of defending against attackers, just the multitude of people who can do it is going to go up exponentially. That's the part that worries me.
Are you seeing anything on a global level that you're quite concerned about now? This is going to be really difficult to defend against. What keeps you up at night?
I think what keeps me up at night is the state-sponsored people enabling the people who are hacking in their bedroom. That's what keeps me up at night, right? Yeah. And so what we're seeing today is, ransomware is still the king of the hacking world because it's become a business, right? It used to be, back when I took on Windows security, it was, the malicious Sasser blaster worms that someone created just to be disruptive, right? And now you got multi-billion-dollar businesses that are run like businesses that are around commercial hacking. And what worries me is we've already seen things like malware as a service and ransomware as a service, where you have hackers basically building technology platforms for other hackers to take that technology and go perpetrate attacks. So they pay a license fee to these platforms, and then they go perpetrate the attacks. And so you're enabling less sophisticated people to go be malicious actors. That's just going to really expand further when you bring AI into it. Right now, the attackers are starting to use AI aggressively, Gen AI aggressively to attack, and it's not just computers; it's over the phone. It's through video. There's been some. You read about some of these amazing phishing attacks where it's either coming over voice on your phone. We see attacks on text. We see attacks on other Slack and Teams and communication like that. And so the thing that worries me about AI is you can create now back in the day you had to have some command and control. I get a footprint inside an organization. I create a communication path to my kind of hacking center, and then I can bring other payloads down. I can exfiltrate things. I could, have a human being help me recon and traverse across the network. I'll be able to do that with AI and not need a command and control, not need another human being. I could launch the AI, and all of a sudden, money is where I need it to be. That's pretty terrifying, and not terrifying from a defense perspective. I think we've always, as an industry, successfully kind of kept pace to some degree with the attackers. It's that they can enable an army of people who don't have technical expertise to go be bad actors. That's the part that frightens me. So the scale of defending against attackers, just the multitude of people who can do it is going to go up exponentially. That's the part that worries me.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, if AI can be used by the belligerents, it can also be used by the sort of defenders as well, can't it? So I think it's going to become an arms race essentially, eventually, isn't it? I mean,
it is. And in my kind of analogies, it's always been an arms race. I think we were using conventional arms to use the war analogy in the past. They have tanks, we have tanks. They have planes, we have planes, and now it's a nuclear arms race, right? It's the amount of catastrophic damage could be much higher when you have this type of power. And we've been, in this industry, we've been using AI for a long time. AI is not new to cyber. It's been a key part of how we defend for a long time. I think what's happening now is the processing power has caught up with the potential of AI. And so it can be used more broadly in attacks. And that's the scary part.
Yeah, sure. What are you most optimistic about, Dan, in terms of technology innovation?
Yeah, I do think AI is going to be a big driver for innovation. As I mentioned, we've in this industry been using it. We at Arctic Wolf been using it for a long time. But it is, it's picking up pace because the processing power is keeping up. So we're able to do some, really exciting things with AI that probably maybe weren't possible 5 years or so ago. Plus just the multitude of people now who are experts in AI. Number of data scientists out continues to grow. Universities are pumping out PhDs with data science backgrounds now, where that was fairly uncommon. So I feel good that that's going to be one of the key generators for our industry. At Arctic Wolf, what we're really focused on is continuing that mission of finding things that others can't find because of the breadth and depth of signal that we have. Getting signal from 15, 20 different data sources in an organization, really granular information, then building AI models on top of it. And then from a business perspective, the important aspect is to be able to do all that stuff at scale and be able to do it cost effectively. And so, for us, we want to continue to operate a business that's heading towards profitability, that has great margins, that still has that security operator in mind. Like, we don't think you're going to be able to fully automate the SOC. I think there's a lot of value to having human intelligence along with artificial intelligence. And, but for us is how do we make it as efficient as possible so those humans are focusing on the things that really only humans can do, and they're not toiling around doing things that a machine can do. And so it's a combination of all those things that I'm going to think are going to be pretty innovative for us.
What sort of general advice do you give to business owners, business leaders who want to protect their company from, or protect their customers' data, their own data from cybersecurity threats? What sort of generic overriding advice do you give to business owners and business leaders, Dan?
Yeah, I think the biggest advice would be don't assume that you're not a target. Like, I think a lot of companies, particularly smaller companies, will go, why would anybody want to hack me? Well, you may be the lowest hanging fruit in a supply chain attack. You may be a company that, while you don't think is important, could be ransomed at a decent amount of money. So I think that is an important aspect. And what's also important is to recognize that you may not have the security expertise necessary to protect yourself in this environment. And that means, making sure you have the right tooling, making sure you have the right eyes on your environment. As I mentioned before, I don't think there's a world where a human being doesn't add security value to your security operations. So making sure that you have that. And a lot of companies can't afford to build security operations centers. They can't afford to hire top tier security operators. And so companies like Arctic Wolf, and I think the whole MDR industry is growing because of that need. And so, my recommendation is understand what you're good at, what your core business is, and make sure that you're leveraging, the right tooling and expertise to provide the security coverage when that's not your core competence.